Okay, let's dig into Dyno Mapper and the type of data that is available for performing competitive research. In our example, we're going to use WP Engine, which is a competitor to our pretend accounts SiteGround, which, by the way, is a real hosting company, but we're again pretending that SiteGround is us, and we're reviewing a competitor to see what type of data that they have that we can utilize for our own SEO purposes. I had submitted the URL for WP Engine to Dyno Mapper, and it had to crawl overnight to find all of the data and prepare that for me with reports. And when that happened and it was finished, Dyno Mapper sent me an email, which I've provided the image of what I've received in email within this lesson topic, and it just gives me an overview of the broken links, some duplicate or missing meta titles and descriptions that she'd be aware of. But the bigger point to make here is that this notification tells me that Dyno Mapper is done crawling WP Engine's website, and that I can go and now view the details online within their software in the browser. So when I come into Dyno Mapper, I like to first go to this screen, which is the sitemap itself, and you can view it in a number of different ways. This is the folder view, and I can go many different levels by setting the max level over here. In this example that I'm showing you, they're condensed. So I'm only looking at 2 levels, but I can come in at any point during one of these folders and say, okay, well, I'd like to see maybe what do they have. So let's say I want to see what type of support videos they have. And so now I can just click on that and I can start to see additional information. I can click on one of the guys and it will tell me the URL that's associated with it, so I can jump right over there and view that URL if I wanted to, or I can find additional information about it. I like this because this provides really good information on content generation. So maybe I think that WP Engine is really good with their content generation, and I want to find out some, kind of brainstorm some additional areas that I can write about and use. So I would just kind of come in here and start clicking on some of the folders to see what I find. Now I start seeing some really good content ideas. I could start writing about SEO and create white papers and security, and there's just an A/B testing. It gives me a lot of data information that I can use in my SEO planning and my strategy. So this is just one view of the data. You can actually come up here and say, I want to change the view. Show me the default, which will provide kind of a, an organizational chart. In a small website, this is great, but in a large website, it becomes really unmanageable. So typically, I don't use this for a lot of websites because it is really challenging when you have anything more than like 25 pages or 50 pages. But smaller than that, this is great. It gives you a nice overview of the hierarchy of the content silos, things like that. Another way to view it is the circular version of it, which will show you where a lot of the content's grouped. I love this presentation because now I can see that here's where most of their content lives, which is in the managed hosting, news, and updates. And then I can see that a lot of it's in support as well, and you really start to see where a website's got all of its content. And then that will help you just learn more about your competitor, and again, drill down to some of that content to see what kind of content they're positioning there. You can export the Xml Sitemap, which is really good, and I use this a lot during our design process with clients, because a lot of times clients won't know exactly what URLs are on their site, especially if this site's been up for like 5 years. So we actually come in here and we'll crawl the site and we'll do an export in Excel so we can give them a list of all the URLs and say, okay, here's all the URLs. We need to make sure that we have 301 redirects. So we use it for that purpose, but you can export this, and now all those content generation ideas, now you've got them in Excel, and you can start to dice and slice and get rid of the content that you don't want. It's really, really powerful when trying to figure out what your what your competitor is writing about and producing from content standpoint, and what you might want to produce of your own. I really, really love the tool for this. Okay, so let's move on to another tab, is that audit, which you see right over here on the left. And this is just giving me some of the information that it produced in email, but now I can actually come in and say, okay, I can come down and see where I might see some of these issues. So here's duplicate meta title descriptions, and it's giving me the phrase and then every place it shows within the website. And I can look at this further. From a competitive standpoint, I just like to look at this to say they've got issues, but I'm not going to take a lot of action on this. The heart of my data is, in that available content and where it's located and what are they actually producing. But this is a great tool if you're actually using it for your own website. So the next tab is the inventory tab, and this is just showing the links. I really don't have much value from this from a competitive standpoint. If I need to get to like their social accounts real quick, it's nice because it gives me a list, but other than that, I don't find much value. The keywords is the same. This keyword data is just so generic. This is not the best tool for digging into that information. I would rather use like SEMrush or SpyFu for that kind of data. The nice thing about this is you can connect it to Google Analytics to get additional information, and if you're going to subscribe to it, I would definitely recommend that you do that. But from a competitor standpoint, you won't have that opportunity, so it's not something that we have to cover today. So just to recap, you do have keywords available. I don't find them of much use. The inventory is available. I also don't find that of much use. The audit is great just to see where they could potentially have issues so that you know how weak or strong their SEO is. And then we finally have the real heart of it, which is the sitemap, to really truly see where their content's located, to be able to view the folders, what's included in the folders, and then be able to export a complete list of all of the URLs that Dyno Mapper found on their website and the associated titles with it, and I believe it even gives you how many words or characters are on each individual URL, which is also very, very powerful data from a competitive standpoint. So this is why I love this tool. It's not a must-have, but it definitely will give you some great information that allows you to dig into your competition and really find out a little bit more or a lot about their website and the content that's held within.